Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something that can really shift things in your day-to-day. We've got some sources here looking at gratitude, the gateway to joy. And we're focusing quite a bit on Chapter 7 from that. Our goal really is to unpack what gratitude actually is, see how it ripples out and figure out how we can all bring a bit more of it into our lives for, well, more peace and joy.
Yeah, and what's really interesting in this chapter is how it talks about gratitude. It's not just like a quick feeling you get sometimes. It's framed more as a state of being, something more persistent. The source mentions the Latin root gratia, meaning thankfulness. And Harvard Medical School defines it as a thankful appreciation for what an individual receives, whether tangible or intangible. So it's really about consciously seeing the good things and connecting to something bigger than just ourselves.
Okay, let's dig into that. So more than a feeling, a state of mind. What does thinking about it that way, what does that actually do for us?
Well, when you look at the bigger picture, the source suggests it creates these ripple effects. Psychologically, it's almost like an antidote to negative stuff like guilt or maybe excessive pride. It helps dissolve those, and it makes room for the positive things, joy, calm, even awe. Plus, it tackles something called hedonic adaptation.
Hedonic adaptation.
Yeah.
Right? That's where we just get used to good things happening.
Exactly. Gratitude helps you sort of keep appreciating them. It stops the good stuff from just fading into the background noise. It keeps it fresh.
That's a huge point, actively stopping ourselves from taking things for granted. And speaking of big impacts, the physical health side is pretty compelling too, isn't it? The source brings up actual scientific links.
Oh, definitely. It mentions that people who practice gratitude often report, better overall physical health, things like stronger immune function, lower blood pressure, even sleeping better. And apparently, just 5 minutes of reflecting on things you're grateful for before bed can actually make a difference.
Wow, 5 minutes. This seems doable.
It really does. And building on that, the chapter then looks at relationships, which makes sense. It shows gratitude fuels what they call pro-social behavior, basically, being kind and helpful to others. And that naturally strengthens our connections, our bonds with people.
How does it do that?
Well, it helps you see the good in people more easily. It fosters empathy, forgiveness, generosity. The really fascinating bit is that it seems to, physically rewire our brains over time. It strengthens pathways that make us notice the positive qualities in others.
Rewiring our brains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds powerful, but how? How do we actually make this happen? The chapter gives practical steps, right? It's not just theory.
Absolutely. It lays out some simple, everyday things you can do. There's the 3 good things, exercise, just jotting down 3 positive things from your day each evening. Writing thank you letters is another one. You don't even have to send them. The act itself helps. Keeping a gratitude journal, that's a classic. And then there's something called savoring.
Savoring, like enjoying your food.
Sort of, but applying it more broadly, like really noticing routine moments, maybe truly paying attention to your morning coffee, the warmth, the smell, the taste, instead of just gulping it down. That simple presence, the chapter argues, makes ordinary moments feel, well, pretty extraordinary.
I like that, mindful savoring. But what about when things are tough? Gratitude can feel hard, maybe even impossible when you're struggling. Does the source touch on that?
It does, and that's a really important part. It talks about contrast gratitude, which is basically comparing your current situation to maybe how much worse it could be to find perspective. And there's also the even though practice, like saying, even though I'm dealing with this challenge, I'm still grateful for maybe what I'm learning or some small good thing.
So it's not about pretending the bad stuff isn't happening.
Not at all. It's not denying the pain. It's about actively looking for the gifts within the difficulty, finding resilience, maybe compassion, insights you wouldn't get otherwise. The source is realistic, though. It frames this as a practice that builds strength over time, especially when things feel overwhelming. It's not an instant fix.
That makes sense. It deepens the idea. So the ultimate aim, it sounds like, is what the chapter calls embodied gratitude, where it's just part of you.
Exactly. Less like something you have to remember to do and more just how you naturally operate. It becomes integrated.
Yeah.
And again, this doesn't mean you'll be perfectly happy all the time. It means having this stable foundation of appreciation, a foundation that can hold both the good and the bad experiences life throws at you. It really becomes about being present and finding meaning, whatever is happening. And that commitment, that practice, it's a gift to yourself, but also, to everyone you interact with.
So our deep dive really shows gratitude isn't just a nice feeling. It's almost a revolutionary way to approach life. Not about ignoring the hard parts, but holding everything, the joy, the sorrow, and finding value right there. As you go on with your day, maybe think, what's one gift, just one thing today you could notice and appreciate? Or maybe, what challenge are you facing right now that might, just might, hold a hidden blessing, something to think about? Thanks for diving deep with us today.